Hi, today I'm going to share with you my new mini book called A Proper Gentleman. I started out making this with the accu-cuts A6 Victorian card. That's the shape of the album itself. I actually tied it off with using hair ties. I like it because the book itself can actually sit a little flatter, and that's what I like about it. I'm closing it. I closed it to keep it closed with a Tim Holtz swivel hook and some charms. And at the very end, I have a paper clip that just attaches to the front, and it helps keep the album closed. And I left enough, a little bit extra room, so once the photos and stuff are added, it still has some play. So on the first page, what I did was I took this image off of Google and enlarged it to the size I wanted it. Then I used, I colored it with a Stampin' Up! Markers, Sahara Sand, I believe, and then I used glossy accents over it to kind of make it pop a little bit. And then I added the sticker, A Proper Gentleman, from the paper line. And I love Graphic 45, all of their paper line. There's probably only been one that wasn't super hot on, but for the most part, anything Graphic 45. I really, really like that paper line. Then the first page, I used a Crescent Crest by Tim Holtz, a Regal Crest, and then I used some of the his added sticker to place over a sticker, salvage sticker that I placed over it, and then fussy cut it around it. And then I used the Tim Holtz die, the small locket and key, distressed it using Versamark and distressed powder. This trim I had in my stash from ages ago, when I used to do quite a bit of other type of sewing. And then the next page I used some trim by Sufraha, and it's kind of like rosettes, and every other one has a pearl in the center of the rosette. This is a Tim Holtz called the Weathered Clock. Distressed it with Versamark and distressed embossing powder. The very last layer, though, because I do several layers, the last layer I used glue and seal, put the distressed powder, and then heat set it, and it kind of bubbled up with this kind of interesting effect, and so that's how I got that. And then inside, I fussy cutted the gentleman out of the 8x8 paper, and they're suit salesmen, and I made this little tiny book to go in it, and it closes with a bow, but you can add a sticker here, and inside there's a place for photos and journaling. Lots of fun. This will be, and then the next page I used Tim Holtz sewing ribbon and just bunched it up, and then I used hot glue in between the folds so that it created a little bit firmer, which this ribbon is kind of reminds me of a kind of a canvasy type ribbon, but it made very well to hold the tags in, and kind of fun. And then at the very bottom I have 3 acrylic or resin Recollection roses with some Recollection black bling. And then I made the 2 tags to go into those pockets out of the paper line. And it's got a place for photos, journaling. And then the next one reminds me quite a bit of a matchbook. Very similar. And so it's smaller, but place for photos and journaling. And then I made several half pages. And this is a page that has, I made a belly band using Stampin' Up! Lace punch. I just think that is so pretty. Just love that punch. And then at the bottom I have some rosette ribbon that I got from Joann Fabrics. And then this particular book was made out of 1 by 1 12 by 12 piece of paper. And it was just all in the folding. I did add a 2 by 3 piece of paper to make the spine. And I didn't cover up the paper by putting journaling photo mats, because I just think the paper line should, you know, be seen. However, I know the next person, you know, you're going to have to do that to add some of your own journaling, but I like the paper line, so I didn't do it yet. But I did add some tags that go into the tops of the, because I made pockets out of them. And so they just go in there, but these little tags, that's a proper gentleman. Anyway, I thought the paper line really talked quite a bit. And just some ads, places for photos on the back. Now this one I added, it's from the curtain call, but that is, to me, the look of a proper gentleman. I think that the art of a proper gentleman has been lost within our generations, which is kind of sad. Although that's my personal view. I know that it's still out there in some circles. But, and then I flip over that page and I have a clock. I fussy cut it all out, all the little clocks, added glossy accent, glued them together with glossy accents, and makes it kind of durable to endure the taking out. These tags are from Ancestry.com, put out by K & Company, but I thought they were the perfect size and color. Next page, I have, I used the Tim Holtz Old Jalopy, which I thought was very fitting. I stamped the old kind of jalopy truck, glossy accented it, and put it on the paper. And then I added small tags, so you can see they're very small, but on the other side are the cars. And I did that, just took out 5 of them and put them on the, and this one doesn't go in there. And so that kind of made a pocket out of it. Just kind of, I love his little car. Old Jalopy, love it. The next page is kind of back in the time this sports paper was, they did sports, but they did things like cricket, and they golfed and played tennis and rope and croquet. And so when I went to the internet, I punched up antique sports, and this came up. This matched the paper line perfectly. Color, style, just loved it. So I blew it up big enough that I could cut it out with Tim Holtz Baroque die. And then I backed it with another and put the two together. I stamped a little bicycle from the Tim Holtz collection, put some paper around it, and curled the paper around the bike. I added this little glass disc that says Discover on it. And then in the I made this a pocket, and inside the pocket I have some tags. This is stamped by Tim Holtz. I colored it, I distressed it, And then this is one of his stamps also. This is from a Graphic 45 collection. Boardwalk, I believe. But you can tell on there he's such a fancy, proper gentleman. But this saying says, time is a companion that goes with us on the journey. It reminds us to cherish each moment, because it will never come again. What we leave behind is not as important as how we have lived. So, added those. The next page, I really didn't do much to the paper. I just added some charms and die cuts, but I love the paper, so I kind of wanted the film strip. It kind of went over the car, but you can still see the car. I have a book plate with Tim Holtz, added sticker, and then I use glossy accents. And then I used a large key and locket with some little charm keys. I think my cat just knocked over the paper shredder. It kind of scurried. That's what that noise was. And you turn that page over, and I just left this blank for somebody to put a larger photo on. And then the next one I have from the paper line, I used the background paper, used gears, distressed those with Versamark and distress powder. I added a swivel hook with some gear charms from Tim Holtz. In the corner I have some pearl champagne colored bling from Recollection. In the pocket I used glue and seal on these tags, and it just makes them a little more pliable. And so anyway, I used these from the collection, and then this is just a little tiny tag that I also inserted. As a proper gentleman. Turn this over, and on this side I have Recollection beads, both in the champagne and black with a I Am Roses flower. And then I have a tuxedo here that is a slider card. Never does slide properly on video. Never does for me. Anyway, I thought that was fun. On his collar, what I did was I used some of that rosette ribbon, and so his down the front of his shirt is very, very classy. And on top of that, I used the black bling, Recollections. The next half page, I used another 12 by 12 piece of book, and so it's got lots of room for journaling spots, but also on the end of each page I have tags. I need to add the paper, the ribbon to each page, but yeah. So that's what I did. So there's a lot of real estate in this book for photos. The next page, turn that page over, and I did some hats and clocks. And I used glossy accents, cut this out of the paper line, used a ribbon with a charm slider for his buckle on his hat. This came in the collection, and then I put two really small tags in here, and this came from the paper collection. And then the next page, I used the Tim Holtz Umbrella Man die, and I used him several different ways. I actually cut him out with tin and a tin paper, and then I put it through an embossing plate, and that was Tim Holtz clocks. And that was fun. I cut out this umbrella from Google image, made it to the size I wanted it, made it into a pocket, I used stickles. This is gunmetal stickles. Really like that color because I like it better than gray or black. It's kind of combination. And then inside the pocket, I just added some clocks that I also got from Google. And like this one I made into a little, so I'll add circles so they can add a circle photos. Same with the large one here. It opens up. And yeah, I think that these will be a lot of fun. And then on the side here, this trim again from Sufraha. Just perfect color for this book. On this page is I made a pocket, used some champagne bling on the bottom. In the pocket I have 2 tags, but behind him I have another umbrella man that I actually also put through the embossing folder, and then I used glue and seal over him, and that's why he has a different look. And these are the little books, this little Proper Gentleman. The next page is another half page. I used quite a few different charms Tim holds. I have his pens, tips. I used his film strip again. And this is from the paper line. I just used glossy accent over it, and I made it into a pocket, and this little tag fit perfect in there. And this is from the paper line, so it's just perfect in there. Added fiber to it. I have a paper clip hanger with a crown, which I distressed with gunmetal stickles. And then I have 2 glass baubles or glass disc that has a typewriter and pens. This page is just decoration. However, the back side of this is very useful. It has a clock that I got off Google, and I put on the front of that, oops, there's my phone. The very best print, I have some gears, and I put some clock hands with a little bit of, this button came from Stampin' Up. It's a brad, really pretty, older looking. But this is so cool. This is for a place for photos and journaling on both sides. Tied that up with a ribbon. The last page, I fussy cut it out from the paper line at the end, and the jalopy with guys out at the, I call it the country club, and I made it into a pocket out and I put this large photo mat behind it, but I wasn't thinking, because then I glued down this paper to the photo mat. So now I need to finish go ahead and putting down the photo permanently. However, I made some tags from the paper line. This one is not, but I just kind of liked it. So anyway, that ends my video on the Proper Gentleman. I'd like to thank you all for stopping by and taking a look. Please leave any comments. I actually enjoy reading them. And you guys have a very blessed and wonderful crafting day. Bye.